Hi everyone, hi Katya, hi all the ladies and everyone watching, how you going? Self-care summit, dropping in to have a quick chat to you about using movement for self-care. So my name's Leanne Vanderlight. I'm a wellness and wellbeing mentor, health coach, PT extraordinaire, weight loss coach, Pilates, you name it, whatever. I run a studio at my home and I've been doing fitness for 36 years on the side. I'm usually in corporate before that. However, I haven't done corporate for about, how old are my children? 18 and 16. So that's how long I have not been in corporate. So I have wanted to, I thought I'd start with the fact that, you know, when I was teaching mums, for instance, we didn't have Facebook, right? So no one was kind of talking about self-care, right? So I'm going to talk about different ways I think about self-care and using movement and how movement fits into that. But I thought I'd just like start the conversation with the fact that we kind of relied on, you know, who we met, really, our friends. Like I moved to a new place, so I didn't have any friends, but I did have fitness, right? So it's always been part of my world. I started teaching, you know, from my home. So I was fortunate enough to meet lots of mums that were doing the same thing as me, with toddlers, with, you know, kindergarten age children, primary school age children. But back then, no Facebook, and we didn't really discuss self-care. Sure, we might have got our nails done or our hair done, but it wasn't a thing really. And I can honestly say, you know, with the little ones, and both of them were Asperger boys, not that I knew that, right? So it was particularly hard running a business at home, looking after the family house, you know how it goes, trying to juggle all the balls. And I kind of didn't know anything about self-care, which just sounds silly, right? But I'd sort of been looking after myself before that and doing whatever the hell I liked. It wasn't a consideration of whether it was or wasn't something we did. You know, being a single girl in the corporate world, you do whatever you like. But once you get children, all your effort and time goes into the home, into looking after them. And there was no self-care. I can honestly say I didn't really think about that. And like I said, we weren't discussing it like we are now every day. There's always someone talking about self-care, and there was no Facebook. So there was no other influence coming into your world, you know, to kind of question whether you're doing okay, whether you're feeling okay, whether you're struggling. Like I was pretty much in survival mode for quite a long time. And being that martyr, so I don't know if that's a hereditary thing, like you get that from your parents, you watch what everyone else does growing up, doing all the things, being that mum. I'm hoping that that's gone away, but you know, trying to do all the things at your own detriment was quite a tough gig. Hi Katya, I hope you can hear okay. So when I look back at that, I look back and think, wow, that was really difficult to do. But we did use fitness, right? So we did have our mums groups where we exercised. So I think for me, exercise has always been part of the connection. So connection to others, whether it be walking with a girlfriend or, you know, connecting with other mums so we stayed sane, because that was quite a hard time, right? We were all exactly the same. But we had fun, right? We had fun, we had the connection of each other, we helped each other, we babysat for each other. So that was kind of our self-care, if you like, right? So I just wanted to preface this conversation with that scenario that no idea, right? No idea, running myself into the ground like most of us probably were, just getting by. And hopefully, you know, the conversations that are happening today around women and mums are helping that with our mental health. Because again, using self-care for mental health and having a break. I don't know if you've ever heard of the self-care saves, you know, the organization Mums Who Whine. They always have that campaign on self-care saves. So if you are struggling, know that self-care saves your sanity, right? It saves your, it's not just the movement, but that does bring the connection. So for me, that brought connection to shifting my energy. Like I still use it now, obviously, for shifting my funk. If I'm in a flat mood or I'm tired, you know, energy makes energy. That's how I work. I always thought that, even from a kid, I was always into sport. Energy creates energy, and all of my upbringing, all of my life being my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, I'm now 56, so it's still going. It actually brings energy, right? So sometimes when you're drained and you think, I don't have the energy to go for a walk, it's usually the thing that you need the most, right? And not so much the exercise part of it, although we need to stay healthy. It's more the mindfulness, right? Taking a break. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was the different ways you could use self-care and movement together. So, and rethinking movement, right? So that it's not something that you have to do. It's not something that's a drag to do. It's part of your world. It's part of how you chill out. It's part of how you reconnect with your body and get yourself out of your head. It's part of feeling good and listening to your body again, because I've been doing this for, 36 years, teaching fitness. I can honestly say fit does not mean healthy, right? Just for the record. I've done a lot of years fit, but not healthy. And I've helped a lot of women reconnect their balance, right? To get the balance back in their world, but also to like themselves, to be happy with themselves, to be happy with being more productive, having more energy, liking their body weight, all the things, right? So, but number one thing is the mental health, right? So I think if we can find another reason to think of exercise, because often it's just another chore, and if you don't like exercise, because I train people usually because they don't like exercise, they are not gym goers, right? They're not that kind of people. So, or maybe they were and they fell out of that routine, or they don't have time. So the typical women I teach now and train now online and in person, it is your non-exerciser, right? It's I think important to know that as we're getting older, of course we need to move, right? We're designed to move. And so having muscle, having the stamina and the endurance to get through your day, to have enough energy, to have the strategies to get out of your head and to notice things, right? So I encourage people, if they're struggling, to just walk. Don't worry about all the other things, right? You don't need all the workouts. You definitely don't need diets. You just need that mindfulness, that time out of your day, even if it's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it takes, right? To reconnect, to listen to the birds, listen to the wind, the trees, look at the flowers, look at the animals, whatever it is, right, that brings you back to you. I encourage that exercise should be that thing, right? That brings you back to forget the world. If I have clients that come and they've had really hectic times or, chaos in their day, their life, that time is sacred just for them to forget everybody else, to prioritize that space for them, however you do it. And I think this is the biggest takeaway for any message I ever give is, it's not one size fits all, and what's healthy or fit for one person is not necessarily fit the type of fitness you want for you, right? And that's the problem with comparing and looking on the internet all the time and trying to do workouts and apps and all these things, is that's their version of fit, right? That may not be your version of fit. Yeah, so that's right. It's not about the exercise. It's what you're going to get out of the exercise. So what does that bring you? Is it going to bring you peace and calm and space, like space to think? Is it going to bring you some, hey, how are you, Jade? Is it going to bring you some space so you can take some time out to think, to recollect yourself, to calm your nervous system, to bring you back down to what I call baseline, right? So I think most of us are operating way out of our energy field on our daily living, right? We're not connected, but we're also, we're drained. We're drained in a way that we're not recharging our battery anymore. So having that, what is your baseline? What can we do to create, reconnecting your thoughts, exactly, Katya. So just coming back to you, taking that breath, no matter what crap is going on in the day for you or people around you, it's finding ways to think that exercise is mental health. It's taking a break. It's recharging your battery. It's not push-ups and squats. It's just, yeah, connection, right? And over the time, I've met a lot of women that were disconnected from their body. So they'll push through their to-do list for the day, their work, whatever it is. I mean, I know there's times when we have to push through, but they'll keep going until their feet are hurting, right? By the end of the day, or they cannot move anymore. They're stuffed, right? They've got that, they've got the aches and pains because they didn't even put their feet up once during the day. So we do have an aversion to rest, right? So self-care is rest. Rest is self-care. I guess that's the other thing. If everything we do is self-care, right? Everything you look at the way you're nurturing your body, the way you're resting, the way you're thinking, your self-talk, all of those things. Everything we do, if we change the narrative to everything we do is self-care, right? It's all about us. It's all about feeling better, right? And that's the point, isn't it? Is to feel better. But we do need that baseline and that balance to be able to create, an energy, a world that you're happy in, a body that you're happy in, that feels good, that you can do the things you need to do. Not push it till the brink so it's broken. So I think if we can kind of get more of an idea of how much energy have we got and not go beyond that and take a break. So don't have the aversion to taking a break, right? So finding another reason to do it. So that, like I said, we talked about self-care as in mental health, as in recharging a battery, as in being mindful, as in rethinking. The other thing I'll say, and I know, Katia, we've talked about this before with productivity. So a lot of women that I'm watching are brilliant at their work. They're brilliant at all the things that they do, looking after the family, juggling their business, their work. All the energy, every little spare moment goes into that, right? I've had to talk to many women, give them a pep talk about getting up from their desk, going and having the water, going and moving your body, go stretching, go for a little walk around the block or to the mailbox, whatever it takes, right? That is part of it. So a lot of women are putting every little minute into their work and they're depleting their health to do that. So they're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. So that's where the balance comes in. So self-care is your balance, right? It creates your balance, and you get more productivity if you take a break, go get a drink of water, go for a walk, get some sunshine outside, go get a coffee, whatever, go to the cafe. You'll be more productive when you get back, right? So that kind of movement, that's your functional movement. And that means I'll also talk about functional movement as in, we are busy. We walk a lot. I walked 10,000 steps yesterday and I don't even know what I did, right? I did a little bit of a dog walk here and there, but I did a lot of, just cleaning the bathroom, doing all these other things, right? Going to shops. All your incidental exercise that you do every day is part of it, right? So don't discount that, because that is, that's being active, right? And we want to live active. It doesn't have to, so if we can take the label off exercise as well, that will help, because we can make it anything we want. We can make it for as long as we want. One of the other really cool things, I did write some other things down here, because less is more, right? When it comes to over exercising, and that's another thing where we're living outside our body, where we're not in our connected field of energy, right? We're draining the crap out of ourselves. Dancing, that's what I want to say. If I've got a client that's extremely stressed and tired and worn out and they're disconnected and they're hating on themselves, I don't give them exercise. Not necessarily, just walking is enough for the the survival mode girl, right? But dance, I don't know what it is. It's the music, it's the movement. If you can put dancing into your day, if you start your day or you get up from your desk and you do one song. I used to do a little promotion where it was one song and that was like 3 minutes. Maybe I'll go back to that. 3 minutes a song, right? You will be puffed. You'll be surprised. You'll be puffed, but you will feel happy, right? So yeah, absolutely, Jade. It's for the soul. There's a connection with the music and the movement that you can't get from anything else, right? So I think, yeah, when the radio's on, I can't help myself. Often I'll put the TV off and put the radio on, and that is self-care, right? To me, again, that's self-care. So I don't want to call it self-care for the sake of it, but I think if everything is self-care, if the way you think about yourself, the way you treat yourself, the way you act, if that's part of your world and part of your life, I think that's an amazing way to think of self-care, and that it is part of you, who you are. So I think it's an attitude. I'm at the point where I think self-care is an attitude, but if you are ignoring your body, you're disconnected, you're pushing through pain is another thing, pushing through pain. We can do whatever we like, but why don't we do what feels good? Yeah, that's the main thing about movement. If you pick something you enjoy, and even if you are unmotivated, right? You don't need motivation to go for a walk, seriously, or get some sunshine. Like, we're designed to go and move. Just get up and move. And I saw a thing the other day too about, if you're unmotivated, lie on the floor and just roll around. Just roll around, stretch, just do your own thing. That is something that will inspire you, right? So talking about motivation, inspiration, it comes from the inside. So if you're doing things that feel good for you naturally, you feel naturally happy to go for a walk, or naturally happy to dance, or you're walking around the shops, you're walking around the shopping center, whatever it is, right? That's activity. So taking away the limitations that we put on it and say, this is exercise. So when I was younger, obviously I went to the gym every day, right? I had time, right? I worked in the gym as well. It didn't help. That helped. But I've worked in a lot of gyms, and I've done a lot of aerobic classes in my life. We don't have that time. So if you're rigid in the way that you think exercise should be, and it used to be this when I was in my 30s, it's not going to work for you. If you have 5-10 minutes, go and stretch. Stretch in the shower. Do a few push-ups on the kitchen bench. Do, some calf raises while you're cooking. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that you are connected and you can feel it, right? And you're doing what feels good for you. That is the only way to move your body, right? I've known lots of people to get injured by doing those, fast challenges where you get your money back if you lose, I don't know, I think it was 9 kilos in 9 weeks, but they ended up injured. A lot of people were injured, couldn't eat afterwards properly either, because they've taught their body to stop eating certain foods. So that's a whole new life. Don't worry about that. But you know what I mean? Like, this thing about pushing yourself to do things that are just not connected. And also the fact that you change, so should your movement. Your movement needs to change with you, right? And I've changed a million times, and right now I feel like I need to do something different. I just need my inspiration back again, and my motivation. So look for something different. Do something different. Don't make it so rigid that it has to be this and it has to be for this long. I'll give you one last tip before I go. One of the tips that I always give people is not to put a time frame on something. So put your sneakers on. First thing in the morning is always best. Put your sneakers on, so you know at some point you're going to go for a walk, but don't put a time limit on it. If you're tired, just do a walk around the house block or something. You know what I mean? Like, don't say, right, I have to do an hour, or it's not going to be worth it, or I have to do 30 minutes, or what good is that for weight loss? That is what I've heard from a lot of people, and I want to say that that's not okay. That's not self-love. That's not self-care. That is ego. That is stuck in a habit and a pattern, but it's also talking yourself out of even trying. So if we can take all the things away that stop you from trying to move, the trusting in your body as well, that's where the connection is listening to it and knowing that you're not going to push through pain. You're not going to make yourself do something you hate doing. You're going to find something that you feel happy to do, that you love doing, something you forgot about. It could be gardening. It could be any kind of movement. And that's what I want to say about the self-care thing. You know, like movement is movement, no matter what you do. And I think if you're doing things that are connected to what feels good, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Your body will love you. It will give you back the care that you give it. It will stop the aches and pains, hopefully. Obviously, there's ways to train if you're injured, or there's things you need to avoid. I'm not saying do everything. I'm saying find a way that feels good. And that's, to me, self-care, right? So not ignoring your body, that's not self-care. Disconnected, doing things you hate, that's not self-care. Yeah. So, and I think if we can have that baseline, so what is your baseline? Where are you operating under that energy that you don't have, right? You're running on empty. So I think if we can at least be aware of that line, right? That line you've crossed where you're running on empty, and it's time to put your feet up for 5 minutes. It's time to have a rest. It's time to go to bed early. It's time to stop scrolling and comparing yourself to others and their journey and their fitness journey, because we're all different, right? Obviously, we've got all different needs. So that comparison thing and doing what everyone else is doing, or doing that challenge, or paying for whatever it is, expecting the same results that they're telling you you're going to get. We are all different. We have different lives. We have different things going on in our world. Stress has got to be one of the biggest reasons, and I forgot to mention that. Releasing stress is the biggest reason you would move, right? You move to shift your energy, to release that pressure, release the tension, release the stress, because that will help you reduce the inflammation, reduce weight, possibly even, stop you from going and eating everything that you see in the cupboard. It will help you in so many ways, as well as just giving your energy back, because if you're stuck in your head or you're stressed and you can't move, you're going to be stiff and achy, and like it's not going to be a good thing for you. Like, nothing good comes from stress. Nothing in your body good can grow out of stress. So that's one of the areas that I would teach first, as far as using self-care. And I know that the other girls are going to talk about that anyway. They're going to talk about ways to use self-care to improve, the way you're thinking and feeling about yourself, but also the way your body is coping and the way your body is responding. I know they're going to be talking about nervous system regulation, all the good things, right? But when it comes to movement, there's no probably better way. Put that music on. Do the housework to it if you must. There's a lot of women that actually prefer to do housework over walking, and they'll say that they've got no time because they've got to do the housework. That's never going to be me. I will say that's never going to be me. But yeah, put the music on, dance, do the housework, whatever it takes, right? And I think that's the important thing to finish up on here, is whatever it takes to feel good, do that. So stop running yourself into the ground. You're not a robot, right? We're not robots, right? So it's just, I've got here, what is important now? Okay, so I guess it's working out what you love to do now. What's the next step? Listening to the girls this week, each training each week, and talking about different aspects of self-care, because it's not just getting your hair done, although I am a big advocate for that. But it's actually an attitude, right? So it's how you think about yourself, how you treat yourself, your thoughts, how you're thinking about yourself. And if we can find more good reasons to exercise, and exercise places where that inspires you. Yeah, that inspires you. So the next step is, what will you do today to feel good? How can you fit in? And this is what I am an expert in, because juggling kids and home and work and all the things, I always fitted my movement in when I was doing other things. So if I did the school drop off, I would go for a walk then, yeah? Even now I'll take the dog with me to go to the bus stop, and we'll go for bit of a quick walk before the bus comes. Walking to the shops, I always live close enough, I don't anymore, to the shops. So I would walk to the shops. Or now I plan it. So I will say, right, I'm going to drive to one of the nearest beaches and that's going to be my walk. Or I'm going to go to, I've also got mountains. I'm going to go to the mountains, right? Oh, good, Katya. Yeah, so your self-care is done, right? That's part of your self-care. I'm sure you're going to be doing lots of other self-care today as well. But just have that little list. I think we'll call it a wish list, right? A wish list or not a to-do list. I think it's called is it a soul wish list? Can't remember. Things that you know give you back energy, right? So we want to get more energy. What is the reason for self-care? Longevity, healthy body, healthy mind, balance, and energy, right? So what are the things that are zapping your energy? Try to do less of that and work out what things are going to give you energy. Is it going and finally pruning those rose bushes today? It's freezing cold here. I don't recommend it, but you know, if that's your thing, if you go, you know, going out to the shops, maybe you can do a walk nearby. Where can you fit it in? Where can you make it so easy? And let's face it, nowadays we can do it in our lounge room. Everything is so easy in that regard, right? There's plenty of ways to have exercise. So if you need a little bit of help with that, just message me. If you want some ideas on what you can do that works for your world in your day, you know, you've heard the old thing about going to the train station and taking the lift and all that stuff, right? But most of us are working from home now. So it's really a lot harder, yeah? So we've just got to plan it a little more. If you know you're going for the shops, you're already going to be lugging a trolley and carrying bags and walking. Don't discount that, yeah? So I guess it's always tuning in each day going, what do I need today? What is going to feel good to me today? Do I go for a walk? Do I go for a swim? Do I go and do some yoga? Like, what is that thing that's going to make you feel good? Do I just hang out in my garden? Do I go with a friend and go for a walk, right? Probably the easiest, best thing ever for staying inspired and motivated is connecting with a friend, yeah? So look, I hope that was a lot of information. I know I talk a lot. Yeah, exactly right, Jade. So it's planning and making some time because we spend time on what we value. And I know women aren't, even though they know they want to get healthier, they're not valuing that. That's not their value. That's not their thing. So if you find that you are not spending the time, you're not making the time, then it's probably not a value right now, and you might want to rejig your values. If your value is to stay healthy for longer, stay fit and strong, be well, age well, like, yeah, we want to be, we've got to have muscle tone, we've got to be functional, we've got to be moving our body, and it's got to feel good. So if that's a problem for you, yeah, reach out to this group, put it on the thread, and there's lots of us in here that would love to help you rejig that if you're struggling with the values and where you're prioritizing your self-care. Yeah, lots of help here. So please, anything you want to know, message on this thread on the group. We've got lots of experts in this group that want to help. So yeah, anything you want to know, like I said, or you're looking for some ideas, please let us know. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope that helps you rethink about exercise as self-care and not just a chore to do, another chore to do, yeah? A bit like the pelvic floor thing, right? We don't want it to be a chore. It's just got to be part of how we are, right? And that's what you want your movement to be, part of who you are, how you live every day. So it's not even it's a no-brainer. It just feels good, right, to do because it makes sense, yeah? Stop doing stuff that doesn't make sense. That's number one, I think. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. And I hope there was some helpful nuggets in there that helped, a bit of gold in there. And yeah, I'll catch you soon. Enjoy the week. Bye.